how can we solve the challenges policing in the community presents? It begins with knowing our rights and building a foundation of collaboration between police officers and citizens. That's why the Atlanta Citizens Review Board and Mercer University STEM Education Innovation Lab embarked on an Educator Fellows training program to help students learn their constitutional rights. So what are community leaders doing to close gaps and build bridges? Check out these highlights from the program. This is the beginning of a new movement for government, public and private educational institutions, and nonprofit organizations, all coming together to help resolve this crisis.
ACRB Educators Fellows Program is very important. Number one is when we look at all of the recent events in the media of people, primarily people of color, being killed by police officers, it has gained not only national attention, but international attention. And so we know that we have, when I say we, meaning we as educators, we have a role or a stake in helping to ensure that our students get home safely. That is the number one purpose, to make sure that we can stay alive. And then akin to that point is just strengthening the relationship between the community and police officers. Sometimes students and their families may have this negative concept of police officers due to either what they're seeing in the media or their own personal experiences or experiences of their relatives. And so I think with this program, one of the important factors is that it helps to strengthen the relationship between police officers and the community.
It was important to the ACRB to develop the Educators program to be able to teach youth about police interactions. Through a partnership with Mercer University STEM Lab, led by Dr. Ballinger, we were able to create this program to actually have APS teachers involved in this process.
I feel it's important for Morehouse, and particularly our Center of Educational Excellence, to engage in this project as we are in the business of producing Black male educators that will be going into the zip codes and classrooms that are directly affected by policing in Atlanta. And as a collaborator on this project, working directly with educators, children, and communities in order to make sure that we're supporting public safety and accountability in policing.
So basically, we started by looking at ACRB, the Atlanta Citizens Review Board, what their role is, and the curriculum they had already developed. We started from there to see what existed, and then how can we unpack this so that, number one, it is meaningful, engaging, and relevant to upper elementary school students, middle school, and high school students. And then also for me, it was very important that there is this building of critical consciousness as well. A part of teaching for social justice and equity is supporting students with that conscience raising, and also supporting them with knowing, what their rights are and how to advocate for themselves and others. And so we started there by looking at the ACRB curriculum, the content of the curriculum, and then determine how can we, again, make it accessible, make it engaging, meaningful, and relevant for students.
Since we've been involved in our community education piece with our Know Your Rights training, and our mascot, Captain Integrity, whose name has been changed recently to Justice Crusader, we've always envisioned it, when we're dealing with the youth, for this to be not just a conversation with the youth, but a conversation with the parents, and a conversation for the parents and the youth together. We think that this is information that the youth and their families should be talking about.
The direct connection to STEM education for this project is that students will work with both teachers and community leaders to examine data related to community policing, and crime in order to make the community more safe for individuals living in the 30318 zip code, and also give opportunities to students from these communities who may not have them to engage in extracurricular STEM activities such as learning to program and code computers, and also working directly with data science professors in order to learn more about how data can be used to make their communities more safe.
The educators have had opportunities to begin making connections and collaborating with various stakeholders, from officials from the Atlanta Citizens Review Board, city council officials, community activists. My hope is that this is like the beginning of an ongoing relationship. And with that, hopefully some of these stakeholders will be invited to come into the classrooms to speak with students to answer their questions.
So the teacher training week went better than I could have ever expected. The teachers were intentional. They were meaningful. Everything was purposeful. And now they have a curriculum that is meaningful, purposeful, and intentional, not only for their individual classrooms and their individual schools, but it is truly going to benefit the entire community.
This week was very impactful for me because as an educator, I did not realize that there were so many resources available for our parents and for our community. I was also impacted as a citizen of Atlanta to be able to sit with the higher authorities yesterday and recognize that we do have rights and that there are some good cops. So I'm very pleased about what I learned this week and how I will educate our students at Harper Archer.
The most impactful portion of this session for me has been me understanding my rights as a citizen and then being able to transfer that information to my students. And I'm a big component on teaching positive character traits. And so for me, going into the classroom, I always start at the beginning of the year just kind of giving students examples of what positive character traits look like. And I just think if we just really develop those character traits and just remind students the importance of being respectful when interacting with each other, with adults, I think that can carry on and it'll just kind of help the curriculum come full circle. Another component that I took away, this controversial topic is difficult for me to talk about, but it's one of those things where you can't run from it. And I think, it's time to kind of just stand up, be the voice for kids, empower them so they can kind of go out in the community and as well as their homes and just have a voice and be able to just, at the end of the day, just stay safe with interacting with the police department. So that's my takeaway for the week. And it's been a very informative and empowering session, so thank you.
Okay, this experience was very informative and enlightening, and what resonated with me the most was actually being able to speak with political figures who are in a position to enact laws and create change and truly create change for my students and stakeholders. And I also am taking away the fact that I have more work to do as an educator because being on the front lines, I really have an opportunity to enact change and teach my students on how to better help themselves. And if we do it right, I think we can get to the second generation and get to their parents and really get something going, because we have to get, I believe, to the parents so they can recreate it with their children, and then they're going to pay it forward with cousins and families and things like that. So I really felt like this was very enriching for me, but it actually put me in another space to where I feel like I have more to do as an educator.
This program has impacted me in a very positive way. I've become more educated, more enlightened about services that are right here in the city. I'm very excited to share these things with my students, especially the community that I serve. Kids need something else in their arsenal other than what is the norm for their community, which is running negative dialogue with police. So now they have something to say, hey, I know my rights, I know what you cannot do, what I can do, And so it empowers them a little bit more and helps for a better outcome.
First and foremost, I would like to thank the ACRB for this opportunity. It's a privilege to be here. I've learned a ton in regards to police engagement, my responsibility not only as a teacher, but also as a citizen of the United States of America and also a Georgia citizen. As I go forward as a teacher, I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on communicating the curriculum, especially as a political science teacher, trying to tie in not only police engagement, but understanding the education of my young people in regards to their constitutional rights as they go forward. I think it'll be a great help as I focus on those things in regards to communicating their constitutional rights to their parents, knowing their rights in various situations, also with the curriculum allowing me to tie those two things in together so that they may have a more peaceful interaction, not only with police officers, but also with their fellow classmates and citizens. So I do say again, I thank them for the opportunity to be here, and I've truly enjoyed it and learned from not only the other teachers, police officers, and the members of the ACRB. Thank you guys again.
The most impactful thing for me during this week seminar is definitely the bus trip with Kevin Strickland, learning about the history of Atlanta Police Department and its relationship with citizens in Atlanta, and then learning about the ACRB curriculum and how me and my role, how I can impact the information to students to help rebuild relationships with police in the future.
One impact that this ACRB fellowship has had on me is that I now have a lens as of what goes on behind the scenes of policing and the impact that community stakeholders have on the youth in the community. One impact that I want my scholars to get from this ACRB curriculum is that they know that they have someone there to support them. They also know their rights and what they can and can't do and want the most successful ways to leave out of a police interaction.
This has been a great week for me, being able to learn from other educators and also to learn the curriculum on how to deal with police matters in our students. Being able to teach this matter, know your rights, use your rights. Know your rights, use your rights. That's been the biggest impact on me. So we can tell our students and tell our parents on how to interact with police and make sure that the outcome is the outcome that we need.
This week has been a very rewarding week from an educator's perspective, learning all about this program and how parents in our community, that they have a voice. They have an organization that is willing to partner and collaborate with them should they need services in case there's a situation that they may encounter. So learning about this, this has just been a wonderful experience. And as the director of virtual, I want to be sure that we're able to leverage the curriculum and also integrate this in a virtual format so that students who may not even be in a traditional school will still have an opportunity to receive this curriculum so that they are equipped with how to interact and interface effectively with our police officers.
I'm hoping that the students will be able to interactively engage in these activities and to think deeply and critically about their identities, who they are, what does it mean to be a citizen, and then also what their rights are. And I'm hoping that they'll actually apply that knowledge, not only for themselves, but then for those around them. For example, their parents. Hopefully they'll be sharing this information with their parents, other relatives, friends, and helping to keep each other safe. That's a part of, just being a good citizen as well.
I believe that the community could support this effort by making a call for the push for and encourage having this type of program taught to students in all schools. Policing is that government function that can touch all of us at any point, any time. And we want citizens to be comfortable with police. We want citizens to understand that if you have a problem with police, that the government is serious about holding officers accountable so that we can have the best officers out on the street.
It's been an honor to work alongside such strong leaders from the city of Atlanta, particularly under the leadership of Dr. Felicia Baden from Mercer University here in Atlanta, also Director Lee Reed from the Atlanta Citizen Review Board, Felicia Moore from the Atlanta City Council. We were also joined by State Representative Sandra Scott, who actually sat in on all of the sessions and shared quite a number of quite a bit of insightful information with educators that participated in this project. I know that as the educators move into the academic year and they begin to work directly with students on helping them understand their rights and how to interact positively with police, it's going to be quite a positive program for both educators and students and help to make our communities more safe.
There are so many benefits that I've noticed, and that through discussing with other educators who had the opportunity to participate in the week-long professional learning and reviewing the professional learning feedback. So the collaboration component, I cannot emphasize enough. Again, by various entities and stakeholders, I think is so important to this work. And I'm looking forward to what's going to come from this in terms of, the teachers talked about how they're going to have their students create these skits about, knowing your rights and using various art forms to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of what they've learned with the ACRB curriculum. And I can just see this project just taking off and just, going in different directions. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm very grateful and thankful to be a part of this project.
As a father of two African-American sons and being an African-American male myself, and being part of the Metro Atlanta community, I find this work particularly important as we think about these issues around community safety, community policing, and the interaction with the police, that if we're able to make students and communities more aware of positive ways of interacting with police and be able to create bridges between law enforcement and civil organizations here in the city of Atlanta, that we can make our communities more safe, and that we can also work with parents so they can teach youth about ways that they can survive interactions with police that are going to be positive, and also to work to make our community a more safe place for everyone.
Well, the end game is to have an impact on the future, to where citizens can have better expectations of Atlanta police officers, a better understanding of Atlanta police officers, and understand that accountability is important for officers and for themselves, and the citizens' responsibility to help the police department to be better. I think that if we can do that, we're going to be able to shape a better future, and it starts with the youth.
The Atlanta Citizen Review Board and Mercer STEM Education Innovation Lab are shaping the future for kids through real conversations in a learning environment. For more information, visit the ACRB or Mercer's SEI Lab.